Hello everyone, my name is Salim and welcome to the Markets Breakdown Analysis for Friday, the 6th of October 2023. We'll be breaking down chart and show the exact zones where price will close for potential buys or close below for potential sells as well. So looking at the daily candle for Thursday, so price is still consolidating within the no trade zone we've had on the analysis posted for Wednesday and Thursday. And as we can see, we can easily identify those ranges. For example, when you're looking at the daily for like we've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the body of the candles are forming really small. We have a rejection to the upside and the downside. When you drop down to the lower time frame, like the 4-hour and the hourly, you can easily identify those ranges. So on yesterday's analysis, we were looking for potential buys above 1829, excuse me, and we were looking for potential sells below 1917. So when we put line to at these levels, you drop down to the 4-hour time frame, you can clearly see for most of the time price have been consolidating within this no trade zone. For example, we've had this 4-hour candle breaking below this range. The following candle failed to fill this wick to continue bearish. Instead, it retraced and went back into the range. And that's the same thing again on the hourly time frame. So obviously, once the daily candle for Tuesday closed bearish, let's just review this. Okay, so once this daily candle closed weak bearish, rejecting the downside, and mostly this daily candle, when you look at the hourly and the 4-hour time frame on Tuesday, price was consolidating. The anticipation was to see the Wednesday and Thursday daily candle to still consolidate on those time frames, to have, like, let's say prior to NFP, to then have a decent move for Friday. Obviously we have NFP for Friday. So now what we're going to do is we're going to review the monthly, the weekly, the daily, all the way down to the 15-minute time frame. And we're going to have those targets as well. So looking at the monthly, for example, the monthly, since the daily is ranging, the monthly is still trading below this previous monthly support formed back in March 2023. When we're looking at a weekly, what will be interesting, if the daily candle for Friday pushes bullish with NFP, obviously, it will be interesting to see if this weekly candle close weak bearish, forming a huge rejection to the downside, the same as how this weekly candle formed previously. As we can see, this weekly candle tapped into this previous weekly support, and then price retraced, rejected this area, and closed with this huge rejection to the downside. Now to break down the chart, and obviously when we're looking at the daily as well, the daily is consolidating. So looking at the 4-hour time frame now, we have the most recent 4-hour support formed around 18.15.100. The most recent 4-hour resistance, we have it around 18.28.600. When looking on the hourly, this is the range. Looking at the 5-minute time frame as well, this is the range. I would say now it's easy to identify the no trade zone. What we're going to do here is we're going to have this as a no trade zone. And I just want to mention something quickly. Okay, so based on the hourly time frame, we could look for potential buys above 18.23.200. But the only problem is, let's put a line here. Okay, so if you were looking for buys above 18.23, anticipating for price to retest this 1-hour resistance, the problem here is you trade in the range within the 4-hour time frame. So ideally is to wait for price to break out of this range, because once price break out of this range, look at this clean traffic on the 4-hour we have here. Even on the daily, we have decent ranges on the daily for price to like, let's say, correct in here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look for potential buys above 18.28 and potential sells below 18.15, 18.17. This is going to be the no trade zone. And now to look for potential buys. So for example, for buys, okay, so the first thing we can see is we have monthly bearish, weekly bearish, daily bearish. But when looking on the 4-hour time frame, we have a 4-hour resistance formed previously around 18.48. So the only problem we have here is this is a big range on the 4-hour time frame. This is 190 pip range. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look at the hourly. And the first thing we can see on the hourly, instead of having, let's say, targets at 18.33, which is one of the targets we've had on yesterday's analysis, now since we have NFP coming up, we can anticipate a much bigger move for NFP. So the first thing we could do is we could have the target for buys at 18.37 or even 18.38, That's because this is an hourly resistance. We can clearly see how this hourly rejected this previous 1 hour support. And when you're looking on the 5-minute time frame as well, this is a 5-minute resistance. I would say the first target for buys could potentially be 1838, targeting this hourly resistance. The second target for buys, now what we're going to do is we're going to have another level of resistance around 1844,800, which is this previous 1 hour resistance as well. And now to look for potential sells and going back to the daily, and the first thing we can see is we have, for example, we have this monthly low that was formed in February. Looking at the weekly we have this previous weekly support formed around 1809,400. That's roughly around 56 pip range. Dropping down to the daily, looking on the left, what do we see? We have this daily support. So I would say the first target for sales could be 1809,400, targeting this previous daily support, which is also the weekly support. The second target for sales, now looking on the daily, for example, looking on the weekly, so we have this previous weekly resistance that was formed back in 2022 around 1802, almost to the strong level around 1800. But when dropping down to the daily, I believe we have a daily support formed back. Yes. Okay, so let's have a look. So we have this daily support formed around 1805 200 that was formed on the 29th of December 2022. So the second target for sales could potentially be 1805 200, targeting the daily support formed on the 29th of December 2022.
Dominion Markets, your trading sanctuary.